America's watching ABC.
Crispy, juicy, delicious.
Are you ready? Are you ready, ready, ready? Are you ready for some real food?
You're going to start hearing a lot of great things about Hardee's new fried chicken. Folks in the taste test preferred it over KFC original recipe almost 2-to-1.
Better chicken than Kentucky Fried.
And now, come in and get 8 pieces of Hardee's fried chicken plus 4 free biscuits for just $5.99.
Are you ready for some real food?
Hardee's.
Low just got lower. Winn-Dixie has reduced thousands of our already low prices. Lower than ever. This is not a sale. These are everyday prices, lowered even more. At Winn-Dixie, we know saving money is important to you. That's why we work hard to give you a lower total food bill. We invite you to come in and see for yourself how low just got lower.
In Asheville, North Carolina, a new pickup helped the Dixons turn weekend projects into profits. In Columbia, South Carolina, we helped the Mitchells put down roots in their neighborhood. And in Richmond, Virginia, a hatchback allowed Deborah Carver's son to start college with more than just new towels. Nations Bank loan specialists have helped over 2 million people with car loans, loan refinancing, and loans for home improvements. Come see how Nations Bank can give you the power to make a difference in your life.
You're watching your Heart of Carolina station, WTVD Channel 11. Now, with WTVD 11 News, Larry Stogner, Miriam Thomas, Mike Kaplan with the AccuWeather forecast, plus Drew Smith on sports. This is WTVD 11 News Night Watch.
I think this is it, guys. Keep hearing? Not yet. I got a closure. I got a breaking in.
Mission accomplished for the crew of the Space Shuttle Endeavour.
The third time was a charm as astronauts made a history-making walk in space.
Good evening, everybody. It had been a frustrating couple of days for the crew of Endeavour, America's newest shuttle.
But it also gave us another example of man's ingenuity and ability to improvise. For the first time, 3 astronauts have journeyed outside their spacecraft at the same time. This is a live picture you're seeing of the Endeavour over the Earth. Crew members aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour performed their spacewalk to save a drifting satellite. WTVD's John Clark reports the mission appears to be a success and on what it means for you and me.
The third time was indeed the charm for the crew of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. After 2 failed attempts at capturing the wayward satellite, astronauts Pierre Thuot, Richard Heeb, and Thomas Akers worked together to get the job done.
Yes, sir. Houston, I think we got a satellite.
It was the first 3-man spacewalk in history. The next mission for the shuttle crew would be to attach a rocket motor onto the satellite to boost it into its proper orbit. Mark Spencer of NC State University's engineering school says the goal is to put the satellite into what's called geosynchronous orbit,
where the satellite and the Earth will rotate at exactly the same speed. Therefore, the satellite appears fixed above a continent. So now you can point a satellite dish and just lock it down, and you're always watching that particular satellite.
The $157 million Intelsat satellite is designed to handle more than 100,000 phone calls, plus signals from television networks. It's been drifting uselessly in space for 2 years, and Spencer says NASA's mission to put it right is an important one.
For example, 2/3 of all the telephone traffic, international telephone traffic, is carried via an Intelsat satellite, and virtually all the international television traffic, such as the Gulf War footage, Olympics, the fall of the Berlin Wall, that's carried over Intelsat satellites.
The international organization that launched the satellite in 1990 paid NASA $93 million for the rescue mission, money that, for now at least, appears to have been well spent. For Night Watch, John Clark, WTVD 11 News.
A North Carolina family has spent most of this evening watching Endeavour's every move. Astronaut Catherine Thornton is the only woman on the shuttle. Brown Thornton knows his sister-in-law is getting the chance of a lifetime. She'll go outside the spacecraft to practice building a space station.
I want her to walk in space because that's what she's trained to do, and that's what I wanted to do. I think it'd be great because there's only been one other American woman walk in space. I'd like for Kathy to at least be the second one.
Catherine Thornton is scheduled to get her chance in space tomorrow. The shuttle returns on Friday. There will be more on the Endeavour crew, the spacewalk, and the satellite recovery on Nightline right after this newscast.
A Los Angeles policeman acquitted of using excessive force may well find himself back in a courtroom. The LA District Attorney wants to retry Officer Lawrence Powell. 2 weeks ago today, a jury found Powell and 3 other cops innocent of using too much force to subdue speeding motorist Rodney King. A mistrial was declared on one charge against Powell. That charge was using unnecessary violence under color of authority. A Superior Court judge will now decide if Powell stands trial again. A hearing is set for Friday. Meantime, members of the National Guard have packed up and moved out of Los Angeles. They were sent to patrol the streets after the riots. Today, they boarded C-130 transport planes bound for Northern California. 6,000 troops remain on the streets, helping maintain law and order. An LA City councilman is lending a helping hand to police officers and firefighters hurt in the riots. Councilman Joel Wachs presented each department's memorial fund with a $500 check. Several cops and firefighters were wounded by gunfire and suffered other injuries during the violence.
AIDS researchers have a new way to fight AIDS. They're calling their new weapon the Smart Bomb. A UNC professor says the new drug will work best combined with previously approved AIDS drugs like AZT and DDI. The new drug searches for the infected cell, latches onto it, then kills it. Beforehand, AIDS drugs only attack the infected cell to stunt the growth.
This is a totally new way of fighting the virus, and if it works, it'll be great. It'll be the best way to fight this virus is to use more than just AZT or DDI. It's to use AZT along with this kind of drug or another kind of drug to boost the immune system.
Vander Horst says the drug is a long way from federal approval, but says he is hopeful the drug is successful. Some disturbing news out of Washington tonight concerning drug use in America. A new government report indicates that after dipping for 2 years, hardcore drug use appears to be on the rise. Cocaine-related visits to emergency rooms increased 13% in the latest government survey. Those connected to heroin use were 24% higher. Doctors at Durham Regional Hospital say they've noticed a slight increase in hardcore cases.
We see a fair amount. It's not an insignificant amount, but it's not a significant amount either. We kind of get the overall sense that it's on the increase, but I would say that it hasn't impacted our facility or overutilized our resources to any large extent.
Dr. McClear says Durham Regional gets about 1 or 2 hardcore drug cases a week.
In Chapel Hill, a sobering message for kids, just in time for prom night later this week. Lieutenant Pete Collins is a Mississippi highway patrolman who moonlights as a crusader against drunk driving. Collins says it was after watching a teenage victim die before his eyes that he decided to carry his message cross-country. He told this crowd of 11th and 12th graders at Chapel Hill High, most teens think they'll live forever, but the tragic truth is many won't live long enough to graduate, not if they drink and drive.
From the corner of this auditorium right here, back through the back to the corner right here, someone that I'm talking to right now is never going to get to finish high school. You're going to die doing just exactly what I'm going to ask you not to do.
Despite the heavy overtone of his words, Trooper Collins mixes in a healthy dose of humor to get students to listen. His visit was sponsored by the school's Drive a Teen program and Domino's Pizza.
Over 90 million adults nationwide regularly take part in an activity that's against the law in almost every state.
Gambling is illegal in North Carolina, yet enough people thumb their noses at the law to make it a big, booming business.
Tonight in her special report, Going for Broke, WTVD's Lonnie Levitt shows us that not all gambling operations hide underground.
They're just constantly coming in and out.
It's certainly not underground, and it's not just out in the open. Here in Randolph County, gambling is blatant.
We've got a blue truck coming in here now. You can sit here like this right here and just see them coming and going.
Here the cars and people line up, even walk up with cash in hand to, according to the authorities, place a bet or buy sports lottery tickets.
What'd you bet on? What'd you bet on? Nothing?
Since we know where to find it, rest assured the police know where to find it too. Taking us on a tour of Randolph County's gambling rackets, Sheriff Richard Hurley.
See your little peepholes cut in the wall. That's to check and see when, see for the laws out here, who's out here. see if they can spot us coming before we get in there.
For every gambling shack in business, if you look around, there are plenty that have been taken out of the game. Most of these old trailers have padlocks on the front door, where law enforcement officers have come in, raided them, then shut them down.
We have hit them so much, so regularly, that they know that they're going to get raided. They know it's coming, they just don't know when.
They also know running a ticket joint is only a misdemeanor. Most will pay a fine and be back in business the next day.
Are you here to buy tickets?
No.
Did you know they sell tickets here?
No.
You didn't know that? Ma'am?
Is that what they sell?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you think they do here?
I'm here to see my daddy.
None of the customers driving up to the ticket shacks would fess up to their purpose for visiting.
Fishing lures.
Yeah.
Where are those? In one of those little sheds?
A moment later, this man changes his story.
Do what? Just passing through.
Those just passing through weren't the only ones driving by.
Hello there, Joe. How you doing?
Joe is an owner who came to check things out himself after hearing the sheriff and a news crew were nosing around.
There's a lot of people involved. It's big business. What's going on up here, James? Huh? You don't know?
Since James won't tell us, we decided to walk inside and find out for ourselves. Notice how the room cleared, players leaving poker machines in mid-game.
Yeah.
Remember Joe who drove by? This is his place. Joe was willing to talk with us, but he was real careful about what he said.
It's not as big as it's always thought to be. Is that not right, Fletcher, since you've been coming up here?
I'd say it's pretty big, Joe.
It's big enough, according to the sheriff, that Joe has an expensive home and new cars.
They're going to spend their money where they want to. They worked for it. They earned it. They're right, I think.
Money-wise, the closest we could get Joe to admit is on a good day, he'll take in around 10 grand. Sheriff Hurley says that's a severe understatement. Lonnie Levitt, WTVD 11 News.
Tomorrow night, Lonnie continues her series Going for Broke with a look at what's legal in North Carolina and what's not. Mike Kaplan is up next with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast.
And we'll show you how the jukebox has changed with time.
In today's market, new car prices are going out of sight. But Carolinians have an advantage. The Carolina Caravan, where you get a lot for a little. Like a standard driver's minivan airbag, integrated child seats, air at no charge, automatic AM/FM stereo, power steering, and power brakes. Cash purchase for only $14,803 or lease it for just $260 a month. It's a great buy for you and your family at only $14,803 or just $260 a month. And that's before you see your local Carolina Dodge dealer for your best deal.
Look around America, tell me what is there.
When we look around, we see people doing their part for America's quality of life. Every day, Walmart customers recycle paper, aluminum, plastic, and automotive batteries in our stores. And every day they buy more and more products with reduced packaging. It's called caring about the world we live in.
Recycle America, don't just throw it all away.
You know, when I go into a bank, a smile and a little common courtesy go a long way. Of course, I also want to know I can get to the bank easily, you know, that they're close by. They really ought to bend over backward to suit me. After all, it's my money.
Treating you better. It's what we do best. Centura Bank.
They came from long ago and far away to challenge the dragon. A dragon 15 stories high, 3,000 feet long, that moves at over 60 miles an hour. A dragon so fierce, they thought they might never return. Dragonfire, the fierce new roller coaster at Busch Gardens.
64 to Williamsburg.
Once again, a live shot of Endeavour over planet Earth. Mike and Miriam are watching this right along with you. We're watching the pictures from space. We're now told that the crew of the Endeavour will redeploy that satellite about 12:30. There is some doubt or difference of opinion over exactly when that thing will be boosted back into the orbit they're trying to get it into.
From
right?
my understanding, what they're going to do is they're going to turn it loose from the space shuttle itself, but then they will not fire that rocket for maybe 2 weeks from now to actually boost it up into its geocentric orbit about 22,300 miles. But what a remarkable night for the spacewalkers, wasn't it?
It has been, and for all of us to get to see them.
Yeah, that is really remarkable. Almost like the moonwalk in July of 1969. Hey, right now, conditions are improving after a morning of thunder and kind of a murky afternoon. It is 62, humidity 97%. Look out for some thick air tonight, and by that, maybe some fog and haze around. Wind south at 5, barometer 29.87 and holding steady. It has been dry around here. This shot from our photographer slash producer, Brett Chambers in Wayne County. See all the dust coming up off the ground. And here from terra firma, this is how the moon looks tonight. Waxing gibbous over Durham County. We'll see over the next couple of nights it will fill out this limb of the moon. It'll be full, I think, on Friday. Low 57, high 75 today, a few degrees below normal in the high department. Just a trace of rain came down. We're really way behind normal, and that leads me to my AccuFact, which I'll get to in just a second. Wake up time tomorrow, though, a balmy beginning with 62 degrees, partly sunny skies. Are going to be a sticky start to the day. Okay, it has been very, very dry so far. In the first 13 days of May, we should have picked up exactly 1.5 inches of rainfall. Well, most of us have not done that. So far, at least out at RDU, just over 1/2 inch of rain has come down. It represents about 37% of the normal rain. So we really need to make up for this deficit, and I don't see a whole lot of rain coming at us here the next few days. As we expected, those showers and thunderstorms that were coming down out of Virginia tonight have completely fizzled out. One little sprinkle here to the northwest of Yanceyville in Caswell County. That is going to die out here in just a little bit. Today's high temperatures, wouldn't you believe it was warmer in Boone than it was in Fayetteville today. 71 versus 69. One of the hot spots in the state, Rocky Mount. You got to 79 with a fair amount of sunshine. 11 o'clock readings include 69 at Tarboro, 61 at Fayetteville and Clinton, 65 in Raleigh and Chapel Hill, and a big fat 67 steamy degrees downtown Durham. Tomorrow's highs, upper 70s, maybe 1 or 2 80-degree readings here and there. It's going to be a warm day, but not hot. We're holding off the real heat until Sunday. Satellite pictures showing partly cloudy skies over the western half of our state, basically clear toward the coast. And the showers and thunderstorms are falling apart, and we can tell this in the satellite because we aren't seeing as much orange and yellow like we have out here to the east of Florida. It's beginning to just show up as that milky white color, and that typically indicates these storms are losing their punch, which indeed they are. However, new batch of moisture really getting organized back out here in the Plain States. That's what has me at least a little bit motivated to include showers in my forecast for Friday. This system is going to be moving to the east while this frontal boundary kind of sags and sits right on top of us for the next couple of days. Tomorrow, I don't really think we'll have to worry about much rain. Maybe 1 in 20 of you will get a shower in the afternoon. Better chance when this low pressure area makes a run at us on Friday, particularly in the afternoon. And then for the weekend, ooh, it's going to be hot. Let's go to my forecast. Tonight, mostly moonlit, a little bit of haze and fog around, a low temperature of 60 degrees. We'll have a light wind. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies and 78 with northeast winds at 5 to 15. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy and a low of 59. In my AccuWeather 5-day forecast, 78 tomorrow and Friday, maybe an afternoon storm Friday, then Saturday and Sunday up to 86. Nighttime storm on Sunday, maybe another rumbler on Monday with 82 degrees for a high. Now, Mike's worst weather. Maybe you remember this from last year, but still holds true. In Emerson, Texas, a man in a bathtub is blown a quarter mile by a tornado, and he survived.
I do remember that from last year.
It's one of the all-time greats. I like to resurrect it every May 13th.
He could have been either.
Could have been in worse places than a bathtub.
You're right.
No doubt about it.
Thanks, Mike.
More bodies are recovered in Nova Scotia. We'll have that story ahead on Night Watch.
After refusing parole, a radical member of the group MOVE is released from prison.
And former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev visits the New York Stock Exchange.
Stop right then and got chicken to be food. The Shiramo Tatano Yondro Kiziketo. Zay! Let it go on. Ow!
Archie Sowell is 108 years old. That means he's been able to order from Shoney's senior menu for
53 years.
Shoney's has only been around for 31.
I got here early.
When you're home improvement shopping, one thing is for sure. Most of the stores you visit have prices that'll send your budget through the roof. It's time your money was saved. With an assortment of GTE Sylvania outdoor bulbs and HomeGuard exterior latex from Pittsburgh paints with free custom color mixing. For low warehouse prices, every item, every day, guaranteed.
HQ to the rescue!
Some people think luxury has to cost a lot. I suppose I could have afforded just about any luxury car on the market, but why spend so much if I don't have to? Instead, I bought a Ford Explorer. It looks great. It's got all the amenities of a luxury car, plus the room and versatility I need. So for my money, Explorer was the best value.
Luxury. One more reason Ford Explorer is the Carolina's #1 seller.
Topping world news tonight, the UN Secretary General says Bosnia-Herzegovina is too dangerous.
Boutros Ghali says it's too risky to send peacekeepers into the war-torn region, so they will pull out in the next few days. The announcement comes one day after the European community withdrew its monitors from Sarajevo. 10,000 troops were headed to the area where Serbian forces are battling Croats. The fighting's been going on since Bosnia declared independence earlier this year.
In Nova Scotia, rescuers found more bodies in the West Ray coal mine, where an explosion on Saturday killed 15 miners. It appears the workers were killed by methane gas fumes. After hours of shoveling underground, rescuers have found 4 bodies. Crews will continue searching the mine, where more bodies are possibly buried. In Muncie, Pennsylvania, a member of the radical Back to Nature group MOVE was released from prison. 37-year-old Ramona Africa refused parole more than 5 years ago because officials wanted her to give up her association with the group. In 1985, complaints by neighbors led police to try to evict the group from a row house in Philadelphia. That led to a gun battle, and police dropped a bomb on the house. It burned along with 60 others. 11 people died. Africa was sentenced to 5 years in prison on riot and conspiracy charges.
Plenty of applause on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange today. The cheers were for former President Ronald Reagan and the man who was once his Soviet counterpart, Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorbachev spoke to a group of business leaders. He is trying to promote investment in Russia. NC State makes a run for the ACC baseball title. Drew Smith is up next with sports.
Can the Cleveland Cavaliers move ahead on the Boston Celtics in the NBA playoffs? Highlights coming up next.
I don't know how much thought you give to motor oil.
A word about motor oil from someone who knows.
But around here, it's a pretty important topic of discussion.
Valvoline Motor Oil, Houston, Texas.
The way we look at it, this is more than just a 32-ounce bottle of oil. It's 125 years worth of experience and pride.
People who know use Valvoline.
I like working for people who care about other people.
Walmart, Houston, Texas.
Walmart cares enough about people to sell the very best.
Not far from your home, there's a store where you can count on low prices, day in and day out.
But more importantly, we help people by keeping prices low on everything we sell.
My job is to make the finest motor oil I can.
And my job is to sell it for the lowest price possible.
And together, we make that happen. Walmart, always the low price on the brands you trust. Always.
First came the light. The composition. When you capture an image this special, you need the special quality of Eckert UltraLab 35. 30% larger prints and 2 rolls of film for the regular price of 1. For the pictures of a lifetime.
The Cavs and the Celts in action tonight. Here's Drew Smith. Let's find out where things stand.
Well, I tell you what, the Celtics fans are feeling a little bit down right now, as a matter of fact. Game 5 between the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern semifinals. A pivotal game in this series. They started the night tied at 2 games each, and let's go to the Cleveland Coliseum. The sign says, bring on the Bulls, and the Cavs played like they were ready for him. Brad Daugherty with the hook shot puts the Cavs up by 3 in the second quarter. Big Brad, 28 points in this game. Then the Cavaliers on the run. Mark Price to Hot Rod Williams for the finger roll. Cavaliers built a 7-point lead at the half. Price and Hot Rod hook up again. They start the second half with that bucket. Hot Rod 18. Reggie Lewis tries to keep the Celtics close. The steal and the ripper, 2 of his 27. But the night belongs to the home team. Mark Price finishes off the third quarter with the tray. Celtics would never challenge again. Cavaliers winning it by a final tonight of 114-98.
So far, all year long, they've been able to respond positively, and I can't see why not now. They're going home, and I hope the Garden crowd is behind us and right from the get-go.
We've been able to bounce back from it. We just have to just make sure that we go out there and just don't fall apart, because we know it's not over. It's going to take all of us regrouping and doing as a team.
In baseball, the Orioles started the night 1 game out of first in the American League East. The O's on the road to face the Rangers, and let's go down to Texas. Top of the first pitch of the game. Brady Anderson chops it down the line. He'll go in safely at second with a 2-bagger, and that was followed by this double from Mike Devereaux. Sends it into the gap in right center. Brady will race home. The O's led 1-0. Then Sam Horn gets into the act. Going deep to right, his second dinger of the year. Orioles lead it now 4-2 in the 8th inning. And let's go to Milwaukee. Earlier today, Brewers and the White Sox, top of the first. Robin Ventura sends one to the wall in left. Steve Sachs will race around to score all the way from first. 1-0 White Sox. Greg Grayback with the defensive play of the day. Watch the White Sox shortstop right here. And the Chi Sox beat Milwaukee 1-0. Let's go to Philadelphia tonight. Phils and the Giants, and a big night for this guy, Matt Williams. 2 home runs. Look at this towering blast. His first dinger of the night. And then he hits one deep to center field. Both home runs measured at 418 feet. Giants top the Phillies tonight 5-3. And let's go to St. Louis. Cardinals and the Reds. Paul O'Neill rocks Bob Tewksbury. A solo shot breaking a drought of 54 innings without a home run for the Reds. Cincinnati led 2-1, but the Cardinals would come back late. Brian Jordan into the gap. Ozzie Smith and Felix Jose both come in to score. That gave St. Louis a 3-2 lead. Cardinals winning it. The final was 4-2 on the scoreboard. Expos over the Dodgers. Pittsburgh and Atlanta 10-10 in the 8th. New York goes down to San Diego. Cubs over the Astros in the 8th. American League. Angels over Detroit. The Yankees bomb Seattle. Toronto nips Oakland. Boston, Minnesota tied up in the 9th. KC beats Cleveland. Carolina League. The Bulls get clobbered by Frederick. Southern League. Mudcats over Greenville. And on the Sally League, the Generals go down to Spartanburg. In the ACC baseball tournament tonight, NC State went up against Clemson in the championship game. And let's go to Greenville, South Carolina. Some of the highlights. Top of the first, State Sean Drinkwater with a base hit and the RBI. 1-0 Wolfpack in the 4th inning. Paul Baraski with a base hit to left. A run scores to make it 2-0 State. The Wolfpack leading now 7-0 in the 7th inning. On the ice, the Pittsburgh Penguins trying to move into the Stanley Cup semifinals with a win over the Rangers. And let's go to the Igloo. The Shark Fins out in full force tonight. Penguins on a power play. Phil Bourque behind the net. He'll feed Rick Tocchet. He scores. It was 1-0 Pens. Later on in the second period, Jaromir Jagr grabs the puck out of the air and then beats John Van Beesbrook 2-1 Pens. The Penguins winning it 5-1. They take that series 4-2. Well, practice continues at Charlotte for the Winston this Saturday night. Then the following weekend, they'll have the 600. The drivers are adjusting to racing at night with the brand new lights at the Speedway. They will qualify for that coming up this Friday night. So we'll have more from the Speedway coming up later on this week. All right, thanks, Drew. You bet.
Finally tonight, many of you have probably just bebopped your way right down memory lane with American Bandstand, the last 40 years.
Over those 40 years, we found the jukebox has evolved quite a bit, from the modern-day electronic juke to an old Wurlitzer. Instead of dropping in a nickel, as in Nickelodeon, today's tunes cost 50 cents to $1. And instead of spinning Don't Be Cruel by Elvis on 45s, today's jukeboxes are spinning Don't Be Cruel by Bobby Brown on CDs. Tastes have changed over the last 40 years, even though the eternal teenager, Dick Clark, has not.
He's 87.
Keeps on keeping on.
It's amazing.
Unreal, isn't it?
No surgery.
None at all.
That's our report.
Good night, everyone.
What used to be done the hard way, today can be done the easy way. And the tough jobs can be cut down to size.
just as doing this can now be done like this. Roundup kills grasses and weeds in sidewalks, along fences, and in driveways. One squirt kills them, roots and all. With Roundup, grasses and weeds just don't come back. So instead of pulling weeds, you can spend your time doing something you really want to do. Nothing kills weeds better or easier than Roundup.